I've made a lot of Dead Rails tier lists, and it seems like every time that I make one, they release an update that changes a half of the things that I literally just talked about. And of course, my last building tier list is no exception. You keep asking where Starling is on the list, it literally didn't exist. Plus, a handful of other buildings had changes as well. So we're gonna redo our list and figure out which buildings are good, which are bad, and which ones are absolutely goated. And hey, if you end up enjoying the video, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos just like this. And of course, join the Discord server below to chat with me and my community. Sweet video time. The building is literally the most basic and simple location in the entirety of Dead Rails. They spawn all over from random sides of the road to the most plentiful location inside of abandoned towns. And being just a general building, it has a myriad of general loots. Anything from golden bars to bits of coal or even just vases or statues. They're a decent place to stop right after you start and if you literally have nothing else. And they might be a bit more worthwhile to stop at whenever you're in regular towns, but otherwise they're just mid buildings that often have little to nothing useful inside. So I gotta go with C tier. It's not horrible, it's just not that important of a location individually. The headframes are pretty cool, and while I unfortunately downplayed them in my previous building tier list, I'd say they're actually a very, very useful building since they're effectively a mineshaft entrance and they get mineshaft type loot, with loads of coal and other fuel items guaranteed to spawn every single time. Sadly, these locations are super rare, and usually by the time that I find them, I have most of the fuel that I'll need for the time being. However, it's one of those locations that I would stop at every time if I do have the chance, and I definitely think you should too. Absolutely solid B tier location. The furniture stores look very similar to the regular building, but serve the same purpose as the headframes. They always spawn with some kind of coal or other fuel item, and are a lot more common than headframes as well. They also have the chance to spawn with a few different melees and other kinds of materials. I do make an effort to stop at these because they can be extremely useful to even find extra things like train armor, and you find them basically all over the place. I'll probably go with another solid B tier on this one. The general store is a jack of all trades type building. It can spawn with just about any item in the game, other than guns, at least that I've seen, but are amazing places to find anything from fuel items, like the other locations, to train armor, to gold and silver, and everyone's favorite healing item, the banjo. I don't care what you say, musician is a cheeks class. If you ever just need general stuff, it's literally the general store, loads of general stuff to be had, and a very general good rating of A tier. Gunsmith comes out blasting, quite literally. It's one of the best buildings to come across, having the chance to spawn basically every single gun in the game, along with almost any kind of ammo. I know it might be a little bit of a hot take, but I try not to buy weapons early game, like the revolver. As good as guns can be extremely early game, it's a little bit of extra savings because you're basically guaranteed to come across a gunsmith at some point early on. Come on, free guns, there is nothing more American. Shoot man, I'd say it's gotta be another A tier location, at the least. Free guns, free ammo, not super rare, beyond goated. The sheriff's office is the only reason that the gunsmith is not S tier, because the sheriff's office is everything the gunsmith is, but better. Having the chance to spawn not just guns and ammo, but also pieces of armor, some gold and silver, and of course, sometimes zombies, my favorites. It's probably the best single common building in the entire game, and is never to be ignored if you can help it. It's literally free guns, ammo, armor, it's free money even sometimes. Please search these locations. This has gotta be our first S tier on the list, no doubt about it. It's super simple to guess what's inside of the doctor's building. Decent amounts of medical supplies, yes, but also you can find some other random crap that you might find around elsewhere. Things like vases and paintings, just to kind of name a few. Personally though, I'd rather there be kind of more medical or doctor related things that spawn there. Maybe even a doctor zombie that has the chance to drop something like antidote or something that acts kind of like the Jade Mask does, but we don't have that now, do we? Anyways, yes, it is a decent building. It's basically like any other building in the game, just with more guaranteed medical supplies. And honestly, not super essential. Usually I'll only check these in a town, or if I just have no medical items, period. So I hope that you don't skin me, but I'm gonna have to put this in B tier. Great, but not super essential, just kind of depending on your circumstance. Churches are pretty rare, but only in the sense that they can only be found in one location, towns. So churches are just as rare as towns are, which isn't very rare. However, churches are actually probably my favorite looking building in all of Dead Rails, having a super open layout, high ceilings, and wooden floors. So apartment complexes will charge you $3,000 a month. However, in-game, they're really not that useful, only spawning crucifixes and holy water, which are decent single-use weapons and can sell for a lot, and you can find up to 2 of each at these buildings. But otherwise, that's it. If there was some sort of base building mechanic, I'd say that they'd be literally perfect for that, but otherwise, it's a 1 or I guess 2 trick pony. If nothing else, it's not the worst building to hunker down in if you get caught looting at town at night. In the current version of the game though, I think C tier feels a little bit low, but there really isn't much else that brings you to this location other than those 2 items. That's where it's going to be on the list in my opinion. The banks. Oh, the banks. Probably one of the most iconic locations in the entire game. It's got guaranteed bonds, plus gold and silver bars, and has a few unique ways to break in. Those being stealing a secret code from the bank zombie, or brute forcing your way in with dynamite, like something out of a cartoon. It's free money, but with some extra steps that makes it just a little bit more fun looting towns. Though there's not much else to say about it, it's a small building you find in every town, and it's super useful to get some extra money. Definitely another high A tier from yours truly. Oh my god, have farms gotten a huge buff since we last talked about them. While they still do have a chance to spawn rare items like gold and silver, plus some random other bits that can be used as fuel like chairs, they also now come with a guaranteed tamed horse, plus a horse cart, which is basically a portable train letting you mount whatever you want to it, so some extra loot that you can't carry in your sack, or just making a straight up armored unstoppable fighting vehicle to drag your friends around in. They're pretty simple, very rare and far away locations, seemingly not even guaranteed to spawn once during a run, since I swear I've gone entire games without seeing them, but maybe I'm just blind. But whenever you do find them, the carts are insanely OP, especially during solo runs. And for that, I think farms gotta be at least an A tier. Might be a bit high though, let me know what you think in the comments. The bandit camps, outlaw camps, whatever you want to call it, are also pretty rare locations, having a high chance to spawn bandits or outlaws, whatever, and are generally just really out in the open. They're small and easy to miss locations as well, but if you do see them, much like the sheriff's offices, they are always worth looting, having seemingly an even higher chance to spawn with mass amounts of weapons, armor, ammo, and other random items, including Maxim guns, and even some melees and valuables. The bandits themselves are valuable too, so if they do spawn, hey, extra money. Sadly, they are, like I said, pretty rare, but are very much deserving of an S tier location in my opinion. Moving on to the single locations that are guaranteed every single time that you play, the military base, or as its actual name is, Fort Constitution. This really is one of those places that you can kind of skip over. There are 3 reasons to stop here though, that I at least normally do. The cannon, the extra weapons and ammo, and of course, Captain Prescott himself, who sells for about 150 bucks. I do typically always stop here if I can, just because it is another fun challenge along your journey, but unless you really want the cannon or just really need the extra 150 from Captain Prescott, you honestly can skip it. Once again, I hope B tier doesn't get me skinned, but that's about where I feel it lies. The Tesla Lab, being another special location that you could find along the tracks, guaranteed is a pretty solid location to look at as well. It has no enemy spawns and a guaranteed roughly $400 to $500 in items that you could just take with you, zero risk. And that alone gives you a reason to stop here every single time. It's just free money. But you also have the bonus of assembling this big buff wolf man that gets really, really mad later on in the game. And it summons a huge wave of zombies and lets you get probably the most OP weapon in the entire game once you beat that zombie wave. I love that this is a completely optional location, and you can just stop here for free stuff if you want, or you have the option of doing a larger challenge, which makes me honestly just want to give it an S tier. It's definitely one of the best locations in the game, and I think you'd be hard pressed to disagree. However, the castle is one of those locations I dread every single time that I come across it, and while my stance definitely has changed on it being super difficult, I still do think it is probably the most difficult location in the entire game, with 2 of the hardest normal enemies in the game spawning in huge numbers and being super annoying to deal with. It's easy enough, I guess, to cheese it just by circling the building over and over. It does take a little bit of time, but eventually you could just take out the batches of enemies that spawn. But in general, it's an annoying place. I do feel like it's a great place to tackle guaranteed gold, literally more than you can hold, plus loads of bonds, guns, and ammo, and of course, the vampire knife, probably one of the main reasons people want to loot the castle in the first place. Probably a solid A tier, I would say, is a pretty decent place for a list like this. Lastly, for the special locations, and the main one that did not exist whenever this video was originally made, the town of Sterling, an abandoned mining town that to me has some of the most soul out of any location in the game, if that makes sense. You've got the town itself, which has no enemies that spawn, just some abandoned buildings with some free bonds, and of course a guaranteed torch inside of the sheriff building, which you will need to get into the other part of this location, the abandoned mine, which you break into with some dynamite, and there's loads of different kinds of enemies, some of which you don't actually see in any other location. Plus there's also some traps as well that if you're not careful you can trip, and even hidden locations with some extra valuables scattered around that honestly can make a man rich. While Sterling is a great place that has loads of good loot, I personally enjoy the fun factor of looting it more than I do the actual loot itself, and everything about it to me is just so much fun, which just honestly has to make it an S tier for me. for our final location, the Outlaw Town, the Bandit Base, whatever you want to call this place. That rhymes. This is going to be the last location in the entire game, and it can be kind of difficult if you're a bit careless and just blast your train through the town here, but as a whole, if you just take your time, you'll be fine. You basically just fight a wave of bandits and turn this wheel to lower the bridge, and then you fight another wave of bandits, and if you ended up doing the Tesla Lab Big Buff Wolfman buildable thing, then you'll have to fight said big Tesla Lab Buff Wolfman thing. And it can be tough if you're not prepared. However, as for the location itself, it's loaded with bonds and guns and ammo and all kinds of even bandits and stuff that you can take that are valuable. However, unlike other safe areas, you can't actually resell anything once you're here. So really, it's just going to be the bonds itself that makes it kind of worth looting around once you defeat the initial wave. But being the end of the game, there's really nothing to note other than it might be a bit difficult for the average player. So really, as a location, I can't give it anything above a C tier. Hey though, free bonds and a playable ending, so very nice. Oh, we've done it. We've made it to the end of the game and the end of this tier list, which I think is pretty solid. Let me know your thoughts below. Was I right about everything? Are you gonna fillet me like a fish? Feel free to leave your threats in the comment section below where they'll be promptly ignored. But while you're down there threatening my very existence, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button so you never miss a video like this. And if you have your own tier list or ranking, I'd love to know that as well. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to the channel members up on screen. And of course, also definitely consider checking out one of the videos that YouTube thinks you'll like up on screen right now. I'll see you later, dudes. Peace.